Hello YouTubers! Hey, we're going to start a project today, and it's going to be a couple of weeks before this thing finishes, but we'll start the video now and do a little bit over the next couple of weeks to finish it and show you the final product. And as somebody else says on another channel, through the miracle of time, what's going to take us a couple of weeks you're going to see in less than a half an hour. What we're starting today, and I say we because most of the work this time is not going to be done by me. My wife's going to do it. So the project is out of a cookbook that we've got. You've noticed before that I sometimes use cooks by the Frugal Gourmet, and this is another one of his projects. It's a bourbon fruitcake, and it's from his Christmas book. So let's take a look at the book and at the ingredients and the very first steps in the process of making our fruitcake. So here's the Frugal Gourmet's cookbook, and we're working on bourbon fruitcake. And it is a Christmas joke about the various things that go into fruitcake, and but this one we happen to like a lot, so
we've been asked for the recipe.
We've been asked for the recipe. We sometimes change the fruits that are going into it, and one of the things that we've noticed with fruitcake is that we don't like to buy the candied fruits that a lot of people use in their fruitcake, and that you easily find at this time of year in the stores. So instead of that, we're using, and we'll have to do a little bit of chopping, we're using some dried apricots and some dried cherries. We've got some dried apples, some dried candied pineapple, and this time we're going to add mango slices. We also use raisins and Zante currants. So that's the choice of fruits, and they're all, you notice they're all dried. The next process after we get some of the bigger pieces chopped up is to marinate them for a little bit before we do anything else. So we'll show you that as we go along. Let's see, we're gonna start chopping.
The flour is a trick I learned from my mom, because otherwise you gum up your scissors. So if you just kind of slice the flour a couple times, it's all going to go in the cake anyway, so it sure makes cleaning the scissors easier. It's about 2 cups of dried fruit mixed up. So, like on a tefka, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
There's the beginning of the process. I'm going to turn the camera off as continual snipping will get boring, but we'll get back to you in a little bit with the rest of the process. Okay, most of the fruits that we showed you that were chopped up are in there, a couple cups of them. Now we separately measure in about a cup or so of raisins.
2 to 3 cups.
2 to 3 cups, okay. There's nothing exact about this. It's not a science. It's
Sometimes it depends on whatever dried fruit we find in the season too.
Yeah.
Of course, raisins are always packed up, so.
Looks good. We'll have a taste of the raisins.
It's the raisins.
There goes the currants. Okay, so all of this needs to be marinated, and that's the first of major ingredients.
It's a half cup of whiskey and a half cup of water because of the dried fruits, because they soak up otherwise too much, and it gets too much flavor in one spot and not enough for another.
So there we are. I guess using whiskey is somewhat like one of the old rules for wine when you're cooking. Never cook with a wine that you wouldn't drink. So I would say the same also applies for whiskey. You don't want to be using the $200 bottle of 40-year-old scotch, but you also do want something that you would be willing to drink. So
you will kind of taste it in the fruitcake.
Which is why we like the fruitcake. So there it goes. Now this has to just...
This is going to sit for about 3 hours and just marinate before we do anything else.
Sounds good. And through the miracle of time, we will be back to you in 3 hours. It'll seem like 3 seconds. Okay, what have we got for ingredients here?
Well, what we've got is some butter, semi-melted because I was trying to thaw my frozen one. 6 eggs, 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of packed brown sugar, ½ teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of cloves, teaspoon of cinnamon, ½ teaspoon of baking soda, and don't laugh, a tablespoon of cocoa powder.
Why would I laugh?
Because that sounds funny going into a fruitcake.
Yeah, but I know your fruitcakes taste good, so why would I laugh? Whatever is going to be in it is fine.
Okay, so we're going to start by creaming the butter and the eggs together.
Okay. You want to move the crock pot? Go ahead. It's just our dinner for tonight.
Clean the beaters off. Nicely marinated fruit, and our cake mix is going to go right in it. talker's curmudgeon is, so.
That's okay.
Just gonna fold that all in together.
How many fruitcakes are we going to get out of this?
Depends on how big I make them. I can usually get 4 of this size pan. Sometimes though, especially if somebody's curious about fruitcakes, I'll make a couple of the smaller ones there just so they don't feel committed to a whole cake. I don't like making big fruitcakes because for one, once you slice into them, they start drying out. And then you get dried fruitcakes sitting around, which I think is half the fruitcakes. Reputation problems. There. We just gotta grease up the pans. Cheater, we're using spray. You can use butter in these too if you want, but I'm lazy.
You want to do 1 or 2 of the small ones?
I'll see how probably good.
Might as well while you got the spray.
Yeah, we can grease them up. If you don't use them, they just get washed. You didn't see that. I'm just going to put it all in the pans. It's a kind of goopy mixture, so you want to make sure you get it in the corner so you have a nice looking fruit cake. Might be able to get a couple of little ones out of it yet. You can certainly put your 2 cents in if you need to keep the video interesting.
My 2 cents worth is to wait for it to be done and to taste it.
That's another 3 weeks yet.
3 weeks? How come 3 weeks?
Because we gotta soak them yet. 3 weeks worth of once a week drinks of brandy.
Well, drinking brandy once a week always sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, but you don't get to drink it, the cakes do.
Oh. Okay, so next they're going to go in the oven?
Yep, they'll go in there for 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how quickly they bake up. The little ones will be quick because they're smaller.
And what temperature did you set the oven to?
The oven's at 300. This is a long, slow cake bake, so...
Okay, so an hour or so, depending on the size, at 300. So it's almost like barbecue, low and slow.
Yep. I wish you could smell it. It smells like Christmas. It'll get even better once the cakes start baking. Then the house will smell good.
So I haven't figured out how to get YouTube to do smell-o-vision yet. So
It's just that hint of chocolate. Okay, now we're going to go in the oven.
long has it been?
I think I set it for 45 minutes.
Set it for 45 minutes and it's got 3 minutes and 48 seconds to go. Okay, let's take a look on the inside. They look good. They smell good. Do they pass the toothpick test?
The little ones do.
The little ones pass the toothpick test. They're going to come out.
Let's see what the big ones are doing. A little bit longer.
Okay, well that's reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, it's 2 hours and 10 minutes if you use a big pan, but like I said, we don't, so we kind of adjust. So I'm going to cancel that.
Okay.
And check in about 20 more minutes.
Okay.
And we just did the toothpick test on these guys, and they're done.
And they look good.
Guys are cool enough to touch, so they're ready to come out of the pans. One part is getting them out. The big ones will stay in the pan until they're cool enough to touch. I'm just kind of coaxing them out of the pans here.
And as long as they don't stick to the bottom, we're in great shape.
Yeah. Then they'll cool some more until we're ready to pack them up and feed them their brandy. Because we want them totally cool before we... They're going to sit in a closed container for about 3 weeks, so I want them really nice and cool and so they don't get soggy. There's nothing worse than a soggy.
Being troublesome?
Being troublesome.
Give it a good tap on the bottom, maybe?
I'm afraid of sending a fruitcake flying. Ah, that's what I'm afraid of. Okay, that one's got to cool. We'll let them cool a little longer.
So we have a disaster.
Yep. Oh well, it tastes pretty good. I don't think we greased them enough, maybe. No, it wants to come out. Oh well. Bummer. Tastes good like that too. Even without the brandy.
They do. Yeah, but the brandy would help.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, they seem to be cool enough to come out nicely.
Well, that worked.
Like I said, they're going to sit there until they're really, really cool before they go in the pan. It may be the pans too, because the little ones aren't. They have that shiny coating in them. So they're going to sit there and cool until they're totally cool.
Okay.
And then they will go into the pan and have their first drink of brandy.
I'm waiting for my first drink of brandy.
You sure you haven't been nipping already?
No, I haven't.
Now it's time to put the fruitcakes to bed and give them their first drink.
Fruitcakes have a drink before they go to bed. Good idea.
pancakes fit in here. This
Maybe the other two will turn sideways.
I'm hoping they fit there.
Oh, we'll see.
We're still going to feed the busted one too. That'll be the first one we eat. Nope. I just got to remember how I pack these in here. And they have to sit in something that's got a nice strong cover. This is our friend the Brandy, and everybody gets a little drink.
What do we got? Brandy.
Brandy.
Okay.
Yep. The fruit gets whiskey, the cakes get brandy.
The fruit gets whiskey, the cakes get brandy.
And we cover them up, and they sit for a week. And next week we will open them up and give them another drink, and cover them back up, and then sit them another week, open them up, give them another drink, and wrap them and put them away. Except for the one we're going to eat.
Except for the one we're going to eat. Good idea. Okay.
Quarter cup brandy.
Can't hear you.
I'm sorry. When you talk.
Well, it's a week later and it's time to feed the cake. With a half cup of brandy?
Quarter.
Quarter cup.
Just realized you're not going to be here next week.
I'll find a way. That's it for a week?
That's it for a week. Cover it back up. Let it sit on the counter.
Okay. All right, it has been almost a week and a half since the last video, and in fact almost 2 weeks now that I think of it. What we're going to do is take a look at the fruitcake and give it a taste test. So let me mention one or two other things here. We gave it a second drink of brandy after it had sat for 1 week, and I only showed you the first drink of brandy because, quite honestly, 2 drinks of brandy look just like 1 drink of brandy. So pouring on the second half cup of brandy was, you'd seen that before. Okay, after we put the brandy on it, we simply wrapped the fruitcakes in aluminum foil and let them sit for the last week. And now it's time to have a quick taste test. So let's take a look down at our fruitcake. I'm going to cut it open and then we're going to have a real quick taste, and that's the best part of this. I'm wrong-handed here, but that's okay. Take a look at that. Lots of fruits in it. Okay, here we go. The final test. This is the way fruitcake should taste. You can tell there's definitely a lot of fruit in it. The bread is well flavored, and adding the whiskey and brandy to the fruit, I mean, it's not like you're drinking a shot of whiskey, okay, or brandy, but you can tell that it's there. It just adds, I don't know, a flavor, an extra layer of something to it, makes this really good. Anyways, this is another of the traditional foods that we have at Christmas, and we love it. So thanks for watching. Have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you all the next time we come around with a video. Bye-bye.